Good evening. Good evening, guys. Here we are back again, another live stream. This is a little bit of a later one, but I just thought I did say I'm not good with my word. I was going to do one over Wednesday, but here we are now. So I was wanting to get into all the stuff, the controversy with Lawrence Fox, Dan Wooten, and now you have Calvin Robinson, who's been suspended from GBUs now. This happened earlier today. So I'm going to get into all this. So just give it a couple of minutes and hopefully we can get the numbers up a little bit. Um, so I'll do what I always do. I'll get the link out on YouTube and Twitter. Okay, so that's the link sent out on Twitter. This is a little bit of a later one though. I need to improve doing these a bit earlier, these YouTube, these live streams. Okay, there we are. Okay, so I'll start getting to all this stuff then. So these past few days, where do we begin? So I mean, it all really goes back to Tuesday, right? So Tuesday evening, Lawrence Fox was on Dan Wooten Tonight. He wasn't in the studio. He was speaking, I believe it would have been from his house. And they got onto the topic of a journalist, Ava Evans. She's another piece of work, but I mean, I mean, with her, I mean, that's a whole other thing. But Lawrence Fox, though, instead of properly, addressing the stuff that she had said, she'd been talking on this BBC chat show to do with current affairs, politics. He starts saying, oh, only incels would be interested in sleeping her, all this, blah blah blah. Just going on a bit of a rant, and then he ends it off with, "Who would shag that?" That's how he ended it. And they had Dan there who was kind of laughing, but at the same time, was kind of Dan at this point you had gone too far, but Dan at the same time wasn't actively, laughing along with him, but at the same time it was kind of that awkward laugh, like, "Huh, I don't know what to do here," kind of thing. And so they had done this after the watershed. And I don't know in Lawrence Fox's mind, he just thought because after the watershed, nothing will be done, nothing will be said, there'll be no controversy, or quite frankly, he just didn't care, or it's just Lawrence being Lawrence, basically. But it was said, so there's been a huge uproar over that. Um, I mean, my thoughts on all this, at the end of the day, it was wrong what he said. Um, it was misogynistic, yes. Did he mean for it to be misogynistic? Did he know it but didn't care? I don't know. Um, but at the end of the day, they had to do something. At the end, and I feel, I mean, at the end of the day, they are broadcasters, and they are at the mercy of Ofcom, whether that's entirely good or bad. But at the end of the day, though, let's just put it into perspective. Though, this is a guy who's a 45-year-old man, I believe, with children, going on television, going, "Who would shag that about another woman?" That's quite. I mean, for me, it would be as for the kids, that's pretty embarrassing to have a father that would go and say that. I can only think like if that was me as a kid and my dad was 45 at the time. Christ, I would have been 8 at the time when my dad was 45, and my dad, public figure, going and like saying that, I would be mortified. That's the thing. These kids have got to go to school, and their classmates and that, and people saying stuff. So It's not good. Yes, you could say this is a whole thing about woke cancel culture or whatever, but in the end of the day, something had to be done, and really, he really should have just taken his medicine and been quiet. Hey, Lenny, evening. How are you? Good to see you, Lenny. But that's how I feel, and I think a lot of the time because I'll see Lawrence Fox incessantly tweeting about this stuff. And I think in his mind, I don't know if he's just desperate to kind of like, control the narrative. But in the end of the day, what you said was wrong. Take the punishment, take it like a man. Would I say this is a sackable offense? No. But something to be suspended over without pay? Yeah, sure. Suspend him, slap him on the wrist, suspend him without pay for, let's say, I don't know, 2 weeks. Um, but yeah, I mean, this guy has been just gradually become more kind of unhinged and controversial. And initially, I kind of wanted to overlook it because at the very start, when he started to when it was almost like he came out of the closet, so to speak, as being like right wing conservative. It was on Question Time, I believe, and he was basically saying that saying that how Meghan Markle claims that the royal family was racist or the press was racist, but UK, we're one of the most diverse, open-minded countries that there is, and that seemed pretty reasonable. He was right there, but then from there, and then after that, it just seemed to be a little bit more edgy things that he was saying, you know, controversial. Um, I don't think he deserved to get cancelled entirely from the whole acting community, but there's been many times where he's tweeted things where he really should have thought twice. But my guess is he probably knows. He knows it's backlash. He knows what the backlash will be, and it's for attention. But yeah, so I'm going to get into that stuff, Lenny. Yes, yes. So I was getting into the stuff with Calvin Robinson. So this is the thing with Calvin Robinson getting suspended. So to carry on, so Dan Wootton in the end, he gets suspended as well, along with Lawrence Fox. And then yesterday evening, Calvin Robinson sent a long tweet basically just saying, I won't be doing Dan Wootton tonight without Dan Wootton. Now, just one moment. So I want to get the whole tweet. Yeah, I want to get Calvin Robinson's whole tweet just to see what he said. Calvin Robinson, somebody, overall, I think he's a good guy. I've tweeted him a couple of times. He's liked my tweets. No one else really who's a public figure has ever really liked any of my tweets. There's one guy you may have seen some of the stuff he does, Lanny. It was the guy that got kicked out of the UB40 group for not taking the JB. Matt Hoy, he liked one of my tweets. I want to find it. I want to find what he said though. Because he tweets a lot. It's trying to find that tweet though, the specific tweet though. The Dan Wootton tweet. Okay, so yeah, I found it. Sorry. So he sent this. He actually sent this about 9:15 this morning. So he said, I will not be appearing on Dan Wootton tonight without Dan Wootton. Dan Wootton had a significant part to play in building GBUs. He invited me along pre-launch. He also brought so many people on board, behind the cameras as well as on-screen talent, including the careerist ambitious ones who are currently gunning for his job. Sorry. These people are worse than the woke mob because these vultures are giving the mob ammunition and essentially escalating the channel's demise. Well, the thing is, Calvin, I can at the start here, I can understand that you're being loyal to somebody that gave you a chance. Like I get that, but come on, I mean the jury's out on Dan Wootton, and it has been for quite some time. I wanted to believe that Dan Wootton had kind of changed his ways, even though I had my doubts from his background in that showbiz journalist world, the stuff with Caroline Flack. But if you did some research, Danny, and you looked into the allegations, the stuff that's reported, that investigation by Byline Times, you would see that, come on, like you're kind of like being, it's this kind of blind loyalty you have to somebody that helped you out, I guess, but is what it is, I suppose. But anyway, though, he says, we failed as a community to stand up for Mark Steyn. If we let them do the same to Dan, it's over. The channel will be on borrowed time. We will all be next in the firing line. Yeah, a bit of fear mongering here going on. They'll carry on. They can carry on, I get that people have to pay the bills, but GBUs is more than a job. It's certainly more than a chance to be on the tally. It is a mission, an opportunity to shift the dial in public discourse, to have the conversation the shills and other channels cannot or will not have. We must do all we can to avoid GBUs becoming just another MSN mainstream media outlet, which it will if we let it. Our bosses are scared, afraid of Ofcom, afraid of the woke mob, and afraid they're going to run out of money unless they manage to sort this advertising problem out. We need to give them courage, not enable them to capitulate. If they pander to the woke mob, we are finished. Someone else might get the prime time slot for a bit, but it will not be a promotion if you jump in Dan's grave. You'll just be making space alongside his corpse for your own. Standing up for Dan is standing up for the very idea of GBUs. If he falls, we all fall. We're about to see if people really care about the project or if they just want a better slot with a bigger team and better pay. So there we have it there. So Calvin Robinson just trying to just exert a little bit of power and sticking up for his mate there and to say, hey, well, if he goes, I go kind of thing, and maybe hoping that some other people are going to follow suit. But I think this is going to be a little bit of a different case. So I don't think it's going to be everybody leaving GBUs if Dan Wootton gets a sack or Lawrence Fox gets a sack. It's not going to be like the Gary Lineker thing with the whole match of the day thing. It's going to be a little bit different there. Now, yes, Calvin Robinson might have not dealt with Dan Wootton when Dan Wootton was a boss, one of the main journalists at the Sun. He may see a very nice side to Dan, and you might even see Dan as a friend, somebody that gave him an opportunity. But all this stuff is out there about Dan Wootton, and the thing is, you can't say about bosses being scared, because if bosses were scared, Calvin, they would have suspended Dan Wootton over this stuff. I mean, Mail Online suspended him. Now they've terminated his contract with them. He always had a column. Was it 2 columns a week he did with them? So you can't really claim that bosses are scared when yet they stuck their neck out for Dan. And no wonder they've suspended Dan as well, because it's like, they've stuck their neck out for Dan, and now Dan, and allegedly there's sources out there that, he was producers screaming in his ear to seeing where this was going with the stuff that he was saying. Lawrence Fox about the women, about how only incels would sleep with her or whatever, and they were frantic saying get him off the topic, cut him off, and he ignored them. So they've stuck their neck out for him with this stuff. So people are making it like that Dan Martin is some kind of martyr here, or Lawrence Fox is some kind of martyr as well, with all the things he's done and the whole tweet, because the whole rape accusations of Benjamin Mendy, and he tweeted "get kneeling fuckers," the whole reference to the George Floyd being killed and people taking the knee. I mean, it's like, what the fuck? And then funnily enough, Benjamin Mendy not guilty of all the accusations. But this is a guy that's been Lawrence Fox has been very divisive, and just seems to now it's just there's been this stuff there with the burning the flag, which I could say fair enough, because it's that whatever it is LGBTQIA flag, and how it's when it comes to the stuff of pushing that radical trans agenda, I'm with him there, but he I think as time's gone on gradually, you see that this guy's probably done more harm than good, really. And yeah, so that's Lawrence Fox suspended, Dan Wooten suspended. I mean, Lawrence Fox said he believed that they were going to get sacked today, but that I believe that hasn't happened. Uh, oh, yeah, they had like a disciplinary hearing or whatever it was. But yeah, um, but I think GBUs in the end of the day will survive. There's all the different presenters that are there. Okay, you've got Neil Oliver, Calvin Robinson, Lawrence Fox, Dan Wooten. I guess they're the more type of like anti-establishment, anti-woke type. But there'll be other people there and other presenters. There'll be people like it's not like they're irreplaceable, but they might like because they've been there a couple of years now feel comfortable. They'd like to think they are, but they're not. Um, but yeah, so that's just. But guys, I don't know if you're still there, Lanny. What do you think about the stuff then with Calvin Robinson and GBUs? Out Dan Wooten's name here just to see what's if any updates. Someone's saying here he doesn't. This guy Adam Bolton tells Vanessa Feltz he doesn't think GBUs deserves a broadcast license. I wouldn't go that far. If we want to preserve standards in British broadcasting, we need a regulator that upholds them. I wouldn't say what Lawrence Fox said is a sackable offence, though. Slap him on the wrist, suspend him for a couple of weeks. He should just lay low, keep quiet, take his medicine. But yes, Calvin Robinson's like the mixed race guy, big afro Lanny. He's a deacon as well. He's been on GBUs. I think initially he was just a contributor, but then later on got his own show. Um, there's a show called Calvin's Crusade. Um, he's suspended though, Lanny, not sacked, suspended. But, I don't think he's exactly Catholic. It's like a small offshoot of the Church of England religion. I believe he's part of. Yes, so that stuff then. So going back to like, the whole thing then. So this is Tuesday evening time. So the whole comment, Lawrence Fox. Who would want to shag that? So you had it was about this journalist, and her name was is Ava Evans, I think what it was, Lawrence Fox might have been making reference to certain old tweets that she had when I don't know what it was that she would maybe some troll would say something to her, some guy, and then she would say something in response like, "I'm not going to shag you, mate. Not going to shag you, pal, whatever." And one of the tweets was something about maybe somebody said a complimentary tweet towards Lawrence Fox, and she was and sh- and she was in the and she was tagged in it, and then she said, "Oh, Lawrence is not going to shag you either, pal," or something. So I think that's why he had said that. It was in like reference to an old tweet of hers. Um, but she's a bit of a nasty piece of work as well. Because Lenny, if you can't express an opinion anymore, televised politics and utterly pointless echo chamber full of woke types trying to keep their gig. Yeah, sure. But I suppose the thing with GBUs is it's you've got some people saying they stand with Lawrence and Dan. Other people are saying no, that's wrong. I'm appalled. Blah blah blah. But um, I mean, I mean, even I think 15 years ago or something, there would still be there would be a backlash. Maybe not quite as bad, but I know it's even worse now, though, is it, Lanny? I know, but yeah, so what this Ava Evans then, so she went on she was on a BBC chat show to do with current affairs, politics, what have you. And this guy was like saying that, stuff to do with it was I can't even remember what it was about. It was about some talking about maybe there'd be a minister there for like specifically to do with men when it comes to men males with their issues, mental health, what have you. And he was pointing out this, the suicide rates when it comes to men under 45 have gone up more up as time's gone on. And then she kind of had a bit of a kind of disingenuous, kind of smug reaction to that. Um, and yeah, that was pretty low. That was pretty below the belt. How her response to what he was saying. Um, and I mean, Lawrence Fox should have really addressed that and should have been more kind of directly and mad and just saying how kind of despicable she was. Don't resort to just saying, "Oh, you know, no guy would want to have a sex with you unless he's like an incel cuck." Even if that's how you really feel on the inside, it's not something when you're 45. Like I say, you're a 45-year-old guy, you have kids. He's the leader of this political party, founded called Reclaim. It's like, come on, you can't be doing that. And but yeah, I said Dan Wooten's trending here. Someone's saying here Dan Wooten didn't do anything. Calvin Robinson didn't do anything. Well, maybe Calvin Robinson, maybe not, but I think Dan Wooten's done a lot of things though. Um, Hi, Ayla. Hey, they're all the same. Are you saying everybody on GBUs is all the same, or like everybody on GBUs and the MSM mainstream media are all the same? Or I think it was Mark Dolan that said he was appalled. Yeah, hi, Ayla. Thanks for joining. Is this your first live stream? Have you been on here before, or? Well, especially that's the thing, GBUs, they're at the mercy of Ofcom, and Ofcom has really been, breathing down their neck for quite some time now. So, that no surprise though, this happened to me. The Lawrence Fox thing happened on Dan Wooten's watch. Essentially, it was on his talk show segment. All right, cool, cool. That's good to see you. Always welcome you people. Russell Bland. Yeah, sometimes it can turn into a bit of a witch hunt, but then at the same time, you've got to think of there is the justice overall for if there are victims, and a lot of the time it just ends up being karma, crime, crime always pays. That's why I think things like Me Too movement and surviving R. Kelly happen, but and your police were somebody went on an anti-Trump rant. When I didn't parrot their view, they concluded I was a MAGA fan. Yeah, I know. That's the thing, Lanny, isn't it? It's like and it's like they get to shit on Trump, but then it's like if we praise Trump or crap on somebody who's like a lefty, right? Then we've gone too far. But they can say whatever it is they want. That double standard there that's in the world today, I know it really does piss me off. Yeah, and the thing is, Layla, but say that about the news channels. I mean, GBUs is like right wing light. You know what I mean? I mean, they're still really the whole establishment, the pro monarchy, um, kind of that establishment Tory vibe. You get a little bit, you know. Um, I mean, yes, okay, they were a bit outspoken when it came to the JB and the damage of lockdowns. So that was refreshing to see that a television channel here in the UK, you know, allowing people to express those views, but they're still very much controlled opposition, though, I believe, GBUs. Can't believe how people are so aggressive when they talk about Trump. Yeah, it's like a lot. The hatred they have for Trump is unreal. Like comparing Trump to Hitler, and it's just this whole like chess game that's going on right now with the Democrats and the Republicans. Republicans want to get Hunter Biden, and I would say rightfully so. Democrats believe in their mind that they want to get Trump. Trump's the baddie, and so this is just this game that's gone on, but it doesn't become a game when someone ends up in prison because then that shit gets real. The only thing, like you know, the possible saving grace that Trump might have if he went to jail, um, is that because of his name and his status, he'll be taken care of. He'll be treated like almost like a don, like a mafia boss. He'll be treated pretty well in prison. He won't be having it bad, having it rough, crappy food. I think Trump, it's not going to be like bringing in hookers like Pablo Escobar had. He built his own prison, for him and his other people to be in, but he would have it pretty comfortably in jail, though. I don't know about Hunter Biden. That might be a different thing with some of the stuff. If they get him caught on some of the charges that stuff to do with a laptop, I guess we have to watch how far we go with this. How YouTube can be, but I don't know. He'd maybe struggle much more in prison. But you know what, Ayla? That's an interesting point because I've known some people who are like left wing, but then they'll go on social media and then they'll have these memes that are quite complimentary towards Trump. They'll post these memes and these things they'll Photoshop, and then later on I'll see them shitting on Trump, and it's like, I think to myself, you can't decide whether you love Trump or hate Trump. It's like make your freaking mind up, you know. But is there a chance you go to prison? Maybe, maybe. If it's a battle between, Democrats, Republicans, who would go to jail? Is it going to be Trump? Is it going to be Hunter Biden? I can't see it happening possibly. I think he would be okay, but Had it to share and sell. Telling old war stories, so to speak. God, they would need each other to survive, would they? If it was a super rough prison they ended up in. But then I don't know. I mean, if Epstein supposedly killed himself in prison, he must have had not a really good time. But it's no one buys that. It's like um, it's like the modern day JFK um conspiracy. That isn't it? I think it actually might be Mark Dolan who's going to take Dan Wooten's spot. He's hoping he's going to. Who do you think with Epstein? Who would have killed him? Would it have been his cellmate, or would they have brought in heavies to do the job? I mean, what do you think happened there? God, people being killed. Well, police charge man with the 1996 shooting of Tupac Shakur, and I believe it's the guy Keefe D. But then the story always was that it was actually Orlando Anderson, who was Keefe D's nephew, who shot Tupac. Looks like Keefe D, the guy, it was the old Crip gangster. He's been charged for the for that. Didn't want their secrets out, yeah, because a lot of them thought that he was going to spill too much of a headache if he's still alive, and yeah, it's weird. My internet's playing up. Warning to Maxwell. Yeah, yeah. It's just some of the stuff with Epstein. It's like the whole thing with like the Bill Clinton, like he was in the painting. It's like where he was like wearing one of like would have been like Hillary's dresses. You just think, what exactly is behind that? What you know what I mean? Like one day, just out of the blue, Bill Clinton shows up to Epstein's home and he sees a painting. It's him. Like wow, imagine that mindfuck for him, like Clinton. Like wow. Imagine though, the thing is, like a lot of the people who will try and defend Dan Wooten and Lawrence Fox will be they'll be screaming about the Epstein client list as a distraction. Gee, my internet's bloody slow tonight. Anybody else have a problem with the internet? Is it just me? We've avoided the storm that's been here in the UK. Storm is it Storm Agnes? We've avoided that though. Quite fortunate being northeast of Scotland to avoid it. But Yeah, no worries, Ella. Thanks for commenting. Good to see you. Always good to see you people. Catch you later. The odd twitch in the matrix. Maybe they're cutting me off. I'm too truth. I speak too much truth, much for my own good. Have you been following what's been going on with wrestling lately, Lanny? The rumors are that I think The Rock's going to come back for a match, WrestleMania 40 against Roman Reigns. That'll be a big box office attraction. See, he'll be 51 going to 52. You'd think that probably would be what he'd be his last match. He would do the honors, lose to Reigns, but I don't know. Is that one of those A&E documentaries? Um, I got the I remember it was back in 2006 time. I bought the McMahon DVD. That was quite a good one. Got into the history of him growing up when he got into promoting the whole time his career. You know, as a promoter, owner, performer, announcer, what have you. No, I think I have that, Lanny. No, would be an interesting read for sure. So is it TKO now? Is the official name? Is it WWE and UFC have been merged? TKO Group Holdings, it's called. For GBU's presenter, Calvin Robinson suspended as channel boss condemns Lawrence Fox comments. Calvin Robinson has been the third GBU's presenter to be suspended from the channel after comments made by Lawrence Fox on air. It follows channel boss, so Greek name, Angelos Philonopoulos, saying Fox went way past the limits of acceptance, and his appalling comments on air about journalist Ava Evans. Actor turned political activist Fox made a series of remarks about Miss Evans, a journalist for the website Politics Joe, in which he asked show host Wooten who would want to shag that. Both Fox and Wooten could be heard laughing during the episode, suspended by GBUs in the face of an internal inquiry and investigation by broadcast regulator Ofcom, which received around 7,300 complaints. The boss, Mr. Philonopoulos, said Fox's broadcast should not have happened, as he issued a personal apology to the political correspondent at the centre of the row. Wooten and Fox have both apologised since the incident, with the latter acknowledging his comments were demeaning and not representative of who I am. He also said he expected to be sacked by GBUs on Friday over the incident. And then you've got Wooten, Danny Boy's Mail Online column has been axed over the controversy. Yeah, yeah. WWE merged with UFC. It's Vince McMahon, Dana White coming together. Yeah. They're going to be separate entities overall. I don't think they're going to be doing much cross promotion. I mean, you might get one or two things, but I think there's going to be very much WWE keep on doing their own thing, and the same with UFC. I think for now, anyway. Um, the GBU's boss said about Lawrence Fox. I think Lawrence Fox does sail close to the wind, but he didn't sail close to the wind earlier this week. That was way past the limits of acceptance. We're about free speech, but it is about a respectful way. There's few issues here. Number one, we're looking very closely into the production process and went into the program. Yeah, that's one thing. So Lawrence Fox, I mean, that's the other thing. So he essentially threw Dan right under the bus because Dan came out right away and said, "You know, I really apologize. I've went out my way to Ava, apologize to her." But then Lawrence Fox posted a conversation. It was like a WhatsApp chat thing, and saying how it was like a pre-interview thing, and that he knows full hand. He knows beforehand what questions are going to get asked. Also, he posted the DMs that him and Dan had about 10 minutes after, literally 10 minutes after, and they were having a laugh and a joke about it. And so they've got no loyalty. They all stab each other in the back, these guys. Julio Cass, hi, good evening. How you doing, my friend? I know this has been a bit of a later one. All right. Yeah, I'm getting a bit tired myself, mate. What were you watching? Was it Nolan's by any chance, or is it any classic dance? Or Goddess Night and the Pips? Nice, nice. I don't mind some of that stuff. Goddess Night, yeah. Music I'm probably proper into though, like around probably 70s Motown disco stuff. I don't quite like some old solo and mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Because Goddess Night, she was associated with Jackson 5, wasn't she? When they started, right? Was she not the one that kinda, like, sold them to, like, pleaded with get was it Barry Gordy to sign them? Um, Even though they made out as if, like was at the time, they made out as if Diana Ross discovered them, but I think it was actually Gladys Knight had a part in that, or I think was it Gladys Knight? It might have been her. I remember seeing that old, drama series, is it, the, Jacksons, The American Dream? I think that was part of it, oh, they're like all cousins were they, or certain stories, it's interesting, is it? Because, like, I think, I was watching an interview with Smokey Robinson did, and he said, he grew up he knew Diana Ross going back to when he was, like, 8 or 9 years old. Like, some of these crazy, like, connections, you know what I mean? Like, he looks pretty good for his age now. He's, like, 82, 83, but he looks young, doesn't he, Smokey Robinson? Little talent, I don't know, is that fair, Julia Cass? Diana Ross had little talent? Not that I'm like her music, like I'm a huge fan of it. It's not entirely my cup of tea, but come on, like Diana Ross, little talent. I don't know. If that's fair. No, no, I think he didn't drink. His thing was Lanny. He didn't drink. He did do drugs. I think he'd said in interviews before that he did it. I think he had done a bit of like crack cocaine, and he did it with Marvin Gaye, but he just didn't go too far. He knew when to stop, I guess, but Marvin Gaye, he didn't. Um, I would have to really listen to her body of work, Julia Cast, to agree with you there. I mean, gosh, I'm trying to think like songs from Diana Ross that I like. I suppose I'm coming out is not bad. The one that Biggie, they had the sample for "More Money, More Problems." You just keep me hanging on. That's quite a good one. There's a few others of hers that are not too bad. Going back to like those times, like I know Patti LaBelle's a name gets thrown out there a lot, but I've never really heard enough of her songs. But uh, so as there's Minnie Riperton, she had that "Loving You" song, but she was gone too soon, right? She passed away. Was it like 78 or something? But see, I know my stuff. Well, I suppose Diana Ross, Lenny, would it be fair to say Diana Ross was like the Beyonce of her time, right? And Diana Ross, what was the group called? And the Supremes, that was like Destiny's Child, right? And Diana Ross was Beyonce. It's still not a bad song to be fair though, Joey Cass. Um, I remember that singer Shanice covered it. She did an okay one. Uh, Remember Shanice, "I Love Your Smile." I love your smile. Yeah, exactly, Lenny. I'm not a big fan either. Like early Beyonce, I didn't mind. Like I like probably more the Destiny's Child stuff. To be fair, like "Say My Name" was a big song. I like "Say My Name." I can always specifically remember that when that came out around like spring of 2000, that was a good one. Um, a lot of people. It's funny because Kelly Rowland, when it was the solo careers, like they went solo. Like Kelly, it looked like Kelly was going to be the bigger star. She had a few more hits, bigger than Beyonce's songs initially. She had a couple number one hits here, over here anyway. But funny how things turn out, eh? Diana Ross. Yeah, Shanice. Yeah, I think she was very young as well. She was like only 16, 17 when she did that song, I Love Your Smile. But it's a good one, isn't it? It's a good feel good song. Talking about all these old singers, like soul singers, just like remember like Kanye West slow jams, they did that. They were naming all the old people, was it, the Marvin Gaye, Luther Vandross, a little Anita, will definitely set this party up right. That's a blast from the past. Gary Barlow, Open Road. Is that when they thought he was going to be the next George Michael, right? Well, I'm not specifically talking about Kanye, Julio Cass. It was a song that Kanye was on, but it was Jamie Foxx did the chorus. No, that's a good comparison, though, Lanny. That's a really good comparison with Gary Barlow, Robbie Williams, because it was like that wasn't supposed to happen. Um, I'm sure there's other examples. Maybe Girls Aloud. A lot of people thought Nadine Coyle would be bigger than Cheryl Cole. That didn't exactly turn out that way with a solo career. But yeah, the slow jam song, Julia Cass. That was She says she wants some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, Little Anita. We'll definitely set this party off right. She said she wants some ready for the world, some you edition, some mini Ripperton. We'll definitely set this party off right. I can't quite get my voice like Jamie Foxx's. I haven't got that vocal range, but hey ho. Yeah, yeah. I even was it the song I hope I'm old before I die. That wasn't too bad to be fair. Yeah, Girls Aloud. They had that song, Life Got Cold. That was not a bad one. It sounded a little bit like Oasis Wonderwall, the chorus. I actually saw them very early on. It was at this concert, this free concert at the big park we have here in Aberdeen. It was a free concert, and I saw Girls Aloud. Abs from Five, he was another one who was there. Can't think if there's any other bigger names than that, but yeah. Hey, well, Guy Barlow, though, Lanny, I think his weight has fluctuated over time, hasn't it? Fat, skinny, skinny, fat, skinny. But Smokey Robinson, Smokey Robinson, Freddie Jackson. Abs went mad in the coke and ended up homeless and living in a hayloft. Yeah, I know, Lanny, I know. And I think, I mean, he like Simon Cowell said that he was going to be the next Justin Timberlake when he signed. When he was just very early on and he was with the Simon Cowell label Psycho. Um, he thought that he would be the next Justin Timberlake, you know? Do you remember that song Lenny, Little Miss Perfect he did, Abs? Like that to be fair, that's actually a pretty good song, is it? I was it's quite a catchy one. All of Blue went off the rails too. Yeah, I know. There were another one as well, eh? That Elton John told them they should all go solo, and look what happened. It went tits up. Don't be listening to Elton John for career advice just because he's sold millions and millions of records and super rich. But gee, yeah, it's quite sad, isn't it, Lenny? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, Brian Harvey, it's quite sad as well. I mean, he was at one point he was on a song with Wyclef John, right? And then look at him now. It's quite sad, eh? Yeah, yeah. You have to be really shrewd to get. You just really have to be clued up and have a good lawyer if you're going to be an artist and succeed and get good money and be rich and then be secure, be set for life. Paul Carter. Yeah, yeah. It's the sad story, is it? It's sad. I mean, I went to see S Club 3 in 2009, Lanny, and it was Paul, it was Joe, it was Bradley. And I remember even saying to myself, this was before the gig, and me and my mate, we had got, I think we had to pay, I don't know how much was exactly we had to pay to get in, but we went, and I remember beforehand saying to my mate, like, this is sad. You know, why are we going to this? But then it was the old thing, nostalgia kind of thing, what have you. But I don't even know if they sang live actually, you know? It was just I couldn't even really see them as well. We were like a higher they were below at the bottom, we were like atop a balcony. I couldn't even see them perform, but hey-oh. Direct Divergent Paths, yeah, totally. I know. LFO. Yeah, were LFO the ones that there was like a secret a recording of one of the girls, they were having an argument, two of the girls in the group, and they were like saying one of them was saying how like, "Oh, we're like literal slaves, you know, in the industry." Like, I think that's that group, is it? Or am I thinking somebody else? Oh, LFO, was that like three dudes, was it? Sorry, I was thinking somebody else. Summertime Girls. Is it one of those ones though? Is it so bad it's good, or yeah, oh yeah, Rachel Stevens, absolutely, Lanny. I mean, I grew up with these guys, Lanny. You know, I would watch the S Club 7, the show that was the Miami 7, then it was LA 7, then it was Hollywood 7, when it was Viva La S Club or whatever it was. They went to Spain, so there was like fond memories of those times. To be fair, you know what I mean. You don't know any better. You think the music's the best, but you don't know. I mean, obviously quite cheesy pop for the young kids, but there's still fond memories there. You know what I mean? I was looking at the Discovery Julia cast. They said that they're like pioneers for like bass thumping techno or something, or they didn't have many big hits though. Like you're talking songs that were like lucky if they made it 40 in the charts. Uh yeah, I think I saw a brief clip, Lanny, of that Shadow guy. Yeah, it's quite sad, was it? He ended up essentially on the dole, and he's not really in a good place right now, is he? It's sad to see, is it? I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby. Iron Maiden, baby, like me. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. Yes, I know Wheatus, Julio Cast. That's another one going back to my childhood. Yeah, yeah. It was even back then, Lenny, though, it was like you had good songs like from dance and garage, right? And it was like they would maybe have a couple of good hits, a couple of top 10 hits, and then you never hear from them again, you know? It was I don't know what that was. It was just couldn't keep it up with the music, just lost didn't have their finger on the pulse, or maybe these guys didn't play the industry games and certain offers, propositions they got, and it went against their models. Like, I don't know. 61. Yeah. I used to watch Gladiators as a kid. Yeah. My old man, he's actually into Razorlight, Lenny. He's got one of their albums. I'm not that familiar with their stuff though. It's not really my cup of tea, if I'm honest, but I don't mind some indie. Like from those times, like the noughties, some of the stuff was like okay to be fair. The bands back then, compared to all the woke shit now, and everybody's got this political statements and agendas they're pushing, like they had a bit more of an edge to them groups back then, in fairness, eh? But Franz Ferdinand, yeah, they're not too bad, yeah. I think they all studied up here, Aberdeen University. Pete Doherty. Is he not like connected to somebody who got killed that was like at his flat or something, Lanny? And he ran away from the scene. Um, yeah, he's a sketchy one, is he? He's very odd. How did he get with Kate Moss, Lenny? That's just I don't get it, Lenny. I just don't get it. Like, okay, she loved her cocaine and whatever, but how is he banging Kate Moss? Like, gee, baby shambles. What about here's a one. What about Ornery Boys? Boys will be boys. Ornery Boys, Boys will be boys, 9 to 5. What was it? I love you. What about them? They had a little run. Yeah, Preston, yeah. Was he married to that Chantel from Big Brother very briefly, right? A young man fell off the balcony. Controversial. Mother still won't accept the incident as reported. Very sad for her. Yeah, he stormed off a Buzzcocks. Yeah, there was that Simon Anstill that was like a real dick, wasn't he? God, I wonder what he's like now, eh? That Simon Anstill, the presenter. Um, Remember the whole thing he made the thing about what was it, that Courtney Love thing with Kurt Cobain, that joke. Somebody said something about Kurt Cobain, how he died, and then he made a comment about, oh, and make it look like a suicide. Remember that? That was he was pushing it there, right? Like he would never imagine trying to be like that today. No way, right? Tabloid mass, yeah. I know Simon Amstell, if he was trying to do that his shtick, taking the mick with Pete Doherty, I don't know if that would end well, eh? Okay, so it's getting quite late, guys. So I'm just going to wrap this up. But any other final comments? Any other musicians you want to shout out? Any songs you recommend for me? Fire away. Yeah. Okay, so it's getting quite late. So I think I'm just gonna call it a night, guys. So I'm getting a little bit tired. Why do people think long-term abuse might not destroy you? They just don't want to believe it. They're just so I suppose they're just in so much pain, Lanny. It's just anything to numb the pain. And at the same time, they don't want to believe that it could ever happen to them, that they could be taken out of the game of life. You know, it's that's my answer to your question. A little bit that makes sense, but uh not tuning to Penny Bunny anymore. I'm with you there, Joey Cass. I think I'm the same there with Penny Bunny. But okay, guys. So it's getting quite late, so I'm just going to call it a night. So thank you all for who joined. Thanks very much, guys. And I will promise this much. I will be back on live. I will be back on Sunday evening. And I'll do a live stream then. So thanks very much again, guys. Thanks, Lenny. Thanks, Joey Cass. Really appreciate it. So thanks. Night, guys.